God, this whole camp.
Don't push it.
Oh, look at she's here.
Who's that?
Okay, number one question was, what is the Schneider guard? All camp. It was like, well, you know, we had all these instructors. It's what is the Schneider guard? So today, you know, we hope to answer these questions. Hopefully, you know, we find out more about the Schneider guard. We find out about the Brazilian celebrations, taking off the shirt. What does this man eat to have 0.1% body fat? It's ridiculous. So without further ado, we got Zack Schneider.
Woo! Wow, thank you. That was a wonderful introduction. I don't know what Schneider guard is either, but I will show you some of the shit that I do from guard that works for me, and I'll tell you why I do it. Building up, big push and yank, get a nice body lock, get him tight to you. I want my head close. If he's able to frame my face and push me away and disconnect my chest from his, my squeeze really goes away. So I'm tight, tight, tight with my head positioning. It is, if I'm applying big pressure here, it's tough for him when he's being tight, trying to provide counter pressure out. It's tough to fight in and to be able to push away. So if I can get a good squeeze right away, I feel like I can kind of dominate this interaction. So boom, push down, under, big squeeze. One of two things is gonna happen. Either, well, one of three. Either they tap if you get a good one. Two would be what Esteban did, which is he felt he couldn't take the pressure and gave up mount. And it's a pretty good mount because we started with double unders, should finish with these double unders. So not only do we have mount, we have arms isolated up high, we have legs crossed and everything, and it was a pretty slow and controlled roll from top to bottom. Someone just pop out of that door. You guys that gross? What's going on?
Yeah.
And the other reaction I wanted to show is I think something that I get more commonly, which is they're gonna defend by, I get a really good squeeze when his ribs are wide here, and he's gonna kind of turn his back, give me like a half turn, quarter turn, to try to repeat. So I start to squeeze, right, he hits a hip. And now I'm not squeezing the outside of his ribs, I don't have it nearly as much. I'm not gonna break his ribs this way, right? He's gonna be fine. But because he's on his side, I'm reaching up high with this arm to get his arm that's around my head, up and over. I'm going to his shoulder, and I'm using my elbow and my foot to get a big hip out, and coming through his back. You guys want to see that again? I feel like I talked through it like maybe too slow, a little too wordy about it. I'll show the tech. Mikey builds up. Hit that side. Do like the half the side one. That one I feel like we don't have to practice because if they just roll them out, you can try it if you want, but that's the one to make happen. Questions? Yeah. We'll play with this for as long as you guys are getting something out of it, and then we'll go to some like different rubber guard stuff that I like and things off of that. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, he's blocking it with his head. It's gonna make my life hard. So when people are making my life hard, I really exaggerate this reach across, and I get mean with the point of my elbow into like his ear, side of his jaw to get him to turn his head. So I'm in this Williams guard, but he's being tight with his head here. I'm gonna reach all the way over, get the point of my elbow on the side of his head, and push out this way to lift that up. Once that head's lifted up and away, I can connect my hands, and he can feel just like by wedging out with my elbow, I can get a pretty good turn here. And you can see that by turning his head that way, it's turning me onto my right shoulder, which is where I want to be when I'm setting up my rubber guard attacks anyway. I don't want to be flat on my back here. Makes it hard to get in front of the head, makes it like need a lot more flexibility. As soon as I can get him facing this way, now you can see, just pay attention to the angle this leg is at. This isn't something that I need any flex, my leg's basically straight. I have a lot of movement here. And because I have his face pushed away, it makes it easy to, I think Ted Planet calls it the Kung Fu, where I'm gonna keep the shoulder, I'm gonna come underneath my foot, and I'm gonna fold this in front for my Gogo clinch. Let's get to this Gogo clinch for like 5 or 10, and then we'll talk about a couple of our options from there and a couple of the pathways that end up being taken. So we're winning the overhook, we're clinching in, Williams guard, our opponent's tight with their head, exaggerate the reach over, point of the elbow in the head, be mean, get a good frame, get a good whip, use that to pummel your foot over the top, and we're gonna pause right here. Okay. Make sure if I'm hugging my knee this way, one of the advantages to the like traditional way, it's a slightly smaller pocket for them to limp arm through and be able to get out, compared to if I'm here and if I'm being loose with it, I am opening up my arm a little bit more. So make sure when you're doing that, you're still keeping a good pinch here. Because that is where it'll get lost. Is if you open up your elbow too much, you're light with your pinch, and someone's good at like moving on that transition, they feel the laxity, limp arm out, and then all of a sudden you lose your whole position. So be intentional with how you're pinching that arm. Work through it kind of slow, let your partners try some things out as far as like movement and stopping it. Make sense, everybody? All right, 3, 2, 1. Hand's gonna go underneath my own heel. And do you see how that lines up on this side of his neck right there? This arm's behind my knee. I'm gonna S-grip here, and I'm gonna kick my leg away. If when you're kicking your leg away, you can connect this foot right there, you get, basically I'm getting a squat and a, sorry? Yeah. But, so one time without a neck in the way, we're coming over and all that, we have this S-grip, he pushes this down, right? So I'm pummeling underneath my heel, and this wrist is coming on the other side of his neck. This arm's coming behind my knee, and if I can push on this foot and pull my arms in and push that way, that's the type of pressure I'm looking for. People feel pretty safe when they get that toe push down. They're like, woo, out of that Gogoplata. And they'll kind of pause there for a minute. And it gives you that moment to go under, and kind of just like get that squeeze. One more time. Williams, reach, frame, kung fu, Gogo, if you can. He pushes the toes down, underneath the heel, already behind the knee. S-grip, you can start to kick away. As you make space, connect your foot to the bottom of your other foot. And then we're getting a deep pinch there. Does that make sense, everybody? Anyone need to? Yeah. You play rubber a little bit? Yeah. You got the rubber guard player's physique. So boom, frame. This comes underneath, and you want to push that there. Boom, boom. Start to push. Get this foot. Right. And it does get that almost like a gi choke where it's getting this type of an action. You're kind of getting that because you're pushing in and your form's like pulling through in that cutting motion. Yeah. It's a good one if you can line it up just right. So give it a try. I know it's not like going to fit perfectly into everybody's game, but it's a cool one to know, and at least to know to be on the other side of. 3, 2, 1 here. Then we want to be good with that too, and we want to have like a plan off of that to make things happen our way. This is something I went for yesterday, and it like didn't go great for me because Esteban was talking after. He's like, it's got a good Omplata escape system. I'm like, yeah, I felt it. He immediately started attacking legs and triangles, but I do feel like I get a good amount of sweeps this way, and also can get some submission reps and pressure. I'll show 2 subs and one way to use it to get to a top pin that I like. It's pretty simple. So in this instance, we're in the same spot, but instead of pressuring in, our opponent is, yeah, exactly. Once I get here, instead of pressuring in and trying to not allow me to get my foot over the top, he's gonna turn away from the position. Here, we can spin this way just a little bit so everybody else can see. What Mikey just did there, if I'm loose with this leg at all, he's very quickly gonna start passing this leg. And yeah, go ahead, start passing that leg. Even, yeah, I'm already pretty screwed. I pretty much have to abandon this Williams guard once he gets on top of this leg over here, start over, try to regain like some decent sort of a guard. So make sure we're not being lazy when we're drilling, keep this in a good spot, all that good stuff. But I get here, he runs away. It makes it very easy for me to get this foot over, but I'm probably not digging the Gogoplata from here, right? Unless I can reach all the way over, grab his head, pull him all the way back on top of me, and really control his whole body. Might be tough to get there. But because he's turning away, getting this foot over is easy, and also pulling my, like retracting this leg, probably not super hard. We all know, we probably all have seen an Omplata. I'll show you how I like to finish, and then, you know, some more fun, maybe different details off of it. How I like to finish my Omplata, obviously I'm grabbing here, I'm coming up, I'm retracting this leg. I don't try to pull forward immediately. The way I like to break my partner down is I get up and I lift my butt up and I turn in a big like rainbow. So I'm coming out, but I'm also coming forward with big scoots. Control the hip, move in 2 directions at a time. Now I can come forward and whisper in his ear and do all that good stuff. But the motion on that once I'm here is I'm coming out and I'm coming forward. So as he's trying to come this way, he's getting pulled forward as well. Does that make sense? And it might be, he might be turning in circles around the mat. If Mikey's really keeping his base and I'm here and he doesn't want to hit his hip, I might have to race him a little bit. So like Mikey, stay up on your knees. I might have to run around. But if you get your feet on the ground, you have the ability to do that while keeping the pressure on your shoulder. You can play with that finish. I assume you have some sort of an Omplata finish, but if you haven't played that like half circle type motion, play that. And then I'll show a little sneaky sub off of it and then how to come to a top pin. So Omplata, what people will do really quickly a lot of times is limp arm out. Either if you keep half control on the arm, whether that's from holding a wrist, cross arm, whether your friction here is just good enough to slow it down, or whether your grab here is good enough to slow it down. He's gonna start to limp arm out, and I'm gonna allow him to limp arm out just a little bit, and I'm gonna turn this into a little bit of a slicer. So I'm trying to keep behind his back so I can stay attached, but you can see I went from my knee up to I tucked my knee inside his armpit. Once my knee's tucked inside his armpit, I feel pretty confident that as we go through this motion, it's gonna slide right down to the elbow pit where we want it. So I can do that myself by kind of just coming up with it. It's gonna start to slip where we need it to be, making sure this hand can't slip. Or if he's the one making the motion, Mike can keep trying to roll. I'm still catching this elbow triangled right here. If I can seatbelt from here and start to stomp away, I get a pretty nasty finish there where I can also be, you know, trying to attack this choke. So I get a little bit of a double trouble action. This one literally, put your knee in the armpit. As they roll, that shin line is just gonna slide right down to here. Your job is to slow it down enough that you don't totally lose the arm, right? So whether you feel like you need to grab a wrist, I feel like if I grab the hip and I have a pretty tight pinch, I can control the rate at which I slide down. If Mikey was in his 29th minute of a 30-minute match and he's super sweaty, I might feel like I need the hip and the wrist, right? Because I might feel less confident in my ability to stop him from just limp arming him. So we have Omplata, we have that slicer that I think you guys will find fairly easily. And I'm gonna show one more that's, again, I don't think it's super complicated, so I'll give you 3 at once and you can play with what you want to play with and what you think works best for you. The third one, I'll say this is honestly, it's the only one that I'm showing you that's not like a submission from here. And because the other guy's gonna obviously really be trying to not get subbed, let's say he's real good, this is the one that's gonna happen the most. Let's say they roll, yeah, like as soon as I get the Omo, this guy feels it, he knows, he's rolling right away. When he gets about here and he's inverted, I'm just gonna seatbelt across with my arm. I'm gonna reach, I'm gonna grab his far hip, and as he comes up, I'm gonna come up into my north-south pin. My rule for north-south pinning, and I was gonna talk about this if we did more inverted guard, we can later if we want to, is I don't want him to have total control of his hips. I don't want him to be able to lift these back up and start to get him in my way. So I'm bringing this hand across his hips,
and I'm going forehead right to his belly button, so that if he were to try to lift up those hips, I can keep him flat on the ground with my head pretty well. I can keep him pretty thin. This arm's still in the middle here, but all I'm gonna do is kick that out and come to a tight north south. I find myself in this spot as often as anything, but you also just turn your guard into, if there's points, it's a 2-point sweep, you're all the way in north-south, and the other guy's kind of happy to be there because he just had his arm in jeopardy, and he's like giving you that spot a little bit. Make sense, everybody? I'll show each of those one more time. So from the same spot, boom, coming up and over, he runs away. I'm immediately coming up into Omo, building, grabbing, out and away, up on my feet, using them to walk. I'm up, whisper in the ear, build back up, Mikey. He's gonna roll a little bit. I'm gonna slip this on the inside, he's gonna roll, I'm gonna go with him. Catch this slicer, get a slicer in the choke if you're nasty. Back to the Omo. This time he's actually gonna roll all the way. Immediately grabbing his side, head to the belly button, kick that leg to free the arm. Tight like so. So just our 3 options from that side. Make sense, everybody? A couple minutes playing with those. 3, 2, 1.
This guy's light. I'm trying not to buckle through the ceiling. Oh fuck! Oh god! Oh god! This guy's a monster! Help me! Oh my god! Holy fuck! I feel like a ragdoll! Oh god! Oh god! Oh, this is labor. Easy. Oh god. I'm just taking it easy on him. Yeah. Got him right on. Don't worry. Oh. Oh fuck. Oh my god. Good?